I have a question here about becoming a facilitator of change. I'll read the question. It says, "Hi James, can I ask your advice? I'm interested in pursuing a career in reality shaping, essentially becoming a facilitator of change. I have a background in magic and mentalism and have experience doing readings, but I'm looking to take it to the next level. What training or routes would you recommend as the most effective? I look forward to hearing from you. Yours sincerely, Alan." Okay, so Alan, the first question I would want to ask you if you were here right now is, what kind of change work do you want to do? Are you more interested in the therapy end of things or the coaching end of things? Now, so as you could answer that question, I would have to explain the difference between the therapy end of things and the coaching end of things. And it's really this: therapy is very problem focused. Even a lot of people that say, well, I don't do therapy, I do change work. It's like a surface level switch, but they're still working with problems. People turn up and say, oh, I have a fear of snakes, or I just can't stop myself eating donuts, or I freak out every time I think about going on a plane, or whatever it will be. They have a particular problem, and you're going in and you're helping them to solve the problem. Solution-focused therapy is what that would be called. There's another type of therapy, which is the old school stuff, counseling, going deep into psychotherapy, old school psychoanalysis stuff, whatever it is. Archaeology, psychoarchaeology as I call it, that's a different thing. But let's assume solution-focused is good, because it is good if you're going to get into therapy. So that's therapy, and in many ways therapy is about digging people out of holes. They come in and they say, this is the hole I'm in, can you help me out? And you go, yes, let's do some work. Coaching, on the other hand, is more about climbing mountains. So we've got digging people out of holes versus climbing mountains. When you're working with somebody in a coaching capacity, this is somebody who aspires to do something or be something. They're creating something in the world, and you are supporting them in doing that. So it might be a business they're creating. It might be a non-profit that they're creating. It might be a certain lifestyle they're wanting to create for themselves. It might be a certain relationship that they're wanting to create for themselves. Whatever it is, they're engaged in creating something, in building some difference in their life in a very generative way. And you're working with them to support them in doing that. Really, you're just mostly helping them get out of their own way, helping them take offline the thinking that's holding them back, causing them fears, this kind of thing, and helping them to connect with their resources, helping to bring the best out in them. That's deeply transformative work that transcends whatever projects they may be working on, that you're helping them with, because you're helping them become the kind of person that can do that. You're helping them really realize and develop their deepest potential, so to speak, which I find fantastically rewarding work. So we've got helping people out of holes versus people climbing mountains. There's the difference. Now, depending on what you're interested in doing, it's going to depend on what kind of training you want to do. With the therapy end of things, you're going to look at traditional psychotherapy training, which you could do some long 3-year training, very academically based, very mainstream. You could do something a bit more out there. You could do NLP based stuff, or hypnotherapy. Often hypnotherapy trainings are long trainings. I said on the video recently about Hypnotherapy Heresy, the reason I was doing that 2-day hypnotherapy training is because I wanted to give people a simple, impactful way of hitting the ground running and starting to see clients, having a framework for change work with seeing clients. So then they could add stuff in and develop as they go, rather than being overloaded by a 20-day hypnosis training and going, well, I don't know which tools to use. I've got all these tools. I've been introduced to all these tools and I'm a master of none of them. So that's the idea about the Hypnotherapy Heresy training. And I will say right now, as I make this video, there is one place left on that. It might be a good course for you to do. It might not. That's something that's worth looking into as a way forward. It's down to you to decide that. Or you could go for a longer hypnotherapy training, which, as I say, I don't normally advocate. I don't normally advocate because I've seen too many people coming off them confused. If I was going to offer a suggestion as to which one to take, I would offer the suggestion of looking up Adam Eason, because I know Adam. I did a webinar with him the other day. I know he's really, really switched on, and he really cares about people doing the work and understanding things and doing it well. So Adam's longer hypnotherapy training would be what I would recommend. And then there's NLP trainings. Now NLP can be applied to coaching as well as it can to therapy, possibly even better in some senses. But again, NLP is fantastic. I have my reservations around NLP, but I think there's some real gold in NLP. And certainly you would come off it with a whole bunch of tools and a whole bunch of ideas that you would be able to utilize in helping people to make changes, whether you chose therapy or coaching. I understand when it comes to coaching, there are coaching qualifications out there that you can do. There are things like the Coaching Academy and stuff like that. Okay, that's great stuff. I'm going to say this about both change work therapy style stuff and coaching. One of the best coaches I know has never had any coaching training whatsoever. Never had any whatsoever. He's been coached. He's been coached, and I think that's one of the best ways to get good at coaching is to get a good coach. Absolutely, hands down. You know, get a good coach. But some of the best people I know are not trained at all, and that goes. There's people I know who are doing change work, therapy style stuff, who started out doing street hypnosis. Not only doing street hypnosis, but they taught themselves from books. Started doing street hypnosis, then started reading about therapy and change work and integrating that, and just gradually transitioned across. So in a sense, you can, if you're a very good self-directed learner, you can take yourself into this field. Last thing I'm going to say, it's a piece of advice somebody gave me years ago, and they were absolutely right on the money. Whatever trainings you decide to do, be sure to invest as much in your business skills and understanding training as you do in your change work and coaching skills. Okay, if you really want to make a difference with this, really want to make an impact both in people's lives and in terms of the financial reward that you get, that is essential. A lot of people think that they can do that based on common sense. They go, well, you know, how hard can it be? I put up a website and put some leaflets out or whatever, and they find themselves in a very sorry position when they don't have any clients, okay? If you want to get the deep game of change work, understand the big picture of it, which means you have to know how to connect with clients. You have to know how to bring your services to them. You have to know how to make a difference with them. You have to know how to connect them to the value in that, and you have to know how to open yourself to receiving the payment from that. That's a rich game. That's a deep game in and of itself. So, you know, mastering that game is every bit as important as mastering the change game. And really, for me, I don't think of it in terms of business. I see a big continuum. The whole thing's connected. It's all built around service, how deeply, how profoundly you serve people. But how do you get to that position where you can serve them in impactful ways? So that's really important as well. I would recommend around that, certainly for the business end of things, picking up Rich Litvin and Steve Chandler's book, The Prosperous Coach. That's my recommendation on that. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm just going to give you one recommendation here. Because I think that's an excellent book. But there's a whole range of sources. I'm not saying that's the only source to go to. Okay, Alan, I hope that's been useful for you. It's a huge question. It's a huge question. So I hope there's been some value in that for you, even if it's just getting that distinction between therapy and coaching and getting a sense right now of what is it that you would like to be doing? What kinds of clients would you like to be working with? Because, you know, that's worth getting clear up front. Okay, take care. Alan, I hope that's been useful for you. And if you have any more questions around that, please do contact me.